Singapore is a third world country, but not for the reasons you might expect. The country is undoubtedly an economic powerhouse with a stable economy, remarkable infrastructure, and a luxurious standard of living. With a per capita GDP of approximately $56,000, Singapore stands tall among the world's wealthiest nations, adorned with postcard-worthy attractions, a culinary melting pot, immaculate streets, and a skyline dotted with dazzling skyscrapers. However, on October 1, 2019, at the Singapore Bicentennial Conference, veteran diplomat Tommy Koh voiced a poignant concern. He lamented that Singapore is a first world country with third world people.
I think we have a first world country with third world people.
Ouch, right? This statement sparks a crucial conversation about the civic-mindedness of Singaporeans, a quality expected in citizens of an advanced nation. Adding fuel to the fire, Eugene Sim described Singaporeans as a well-educated generation with barbaric behavior. In this video, we'll be talking briefly about some of these behaviors that have tongues wagging. Before we jump into the chapters of this video, what are your thoughts on Singaporeans in general? Do you agree with Professor Koh's assessment of them as third-class people? Let us know with some facts. Back in the days of the Cold War, the term Third World was coined to group countries that didn't side with either NATO or the Warsaw Pact. The First World included the cool kids like the United States and Canada and their buddies. On the other side of the playground, you had the Second World crew, which featured the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, North Korea, Vietnam, and their entourage. It was basically a way to slap political stickers on nations. There's no universal definition everyone agrees on, and Third World was more about politics than money. But since many of these so-called Third World countries were also economically strapped and not big on the industry, it turned into this lazy way of calling developing nations Third World countries. During Singapore's humble beginnings, the country was unfortunately in that category as a Third World country. In a previous video on our channel, The Dark Side of Singapore, we dived into Singapore's past. We reminisced about the early days, World War II, the Japanese occupying the scene, that short-lived fling with Malaysia, and finally, Singapore's forced decision to go solo. Back then, it was your typical third world story: shortage of resources, iffy sanitation, roads resembling obstacle courses, and a water supply that played peekaboo. However, Lee Kuan Yew came in with the mission, and boy, did he pull it off. Through his governance and several geopolitical events coming into play with the local political climate, Singapore transformed into the economic powerhouse we see today. In just 53 years, Singapore leaped from a third world country to a first world country. But this is where it gets interesting. The breakneck speed of progress might have left some folks doing a double take, trying to keep up with the changes that come with being a first world nation. While Singapore's meritocracy has indeed opened doors for many, creating a thriving middle class, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The system appears to have given birth to some not-so-great side effects. Think structural inequality and a touch of elitism. According to Sun Xueling, the Minister of State for Social and Family Development, those who hit the jackpot in this meritocracy game might feel entitled. And guess what? We're seeing more and more of these self-entitled folks strutting around in Singapore. What's even more concerning is how some of them look down on the army of immigrant workers who've basically been the backbone of the economy. These hardworking souls have been instrumental in building up the city, but they've never really reaped the benefits of what they've sown. In the past few years, Singapore has been all about celebrating its cultural diversity. But if you scratch the surface, you'll find that the city-state is dealing with a pretty big issue: racism. We're talking controversial ads, workplace discrimination, and even those sneaky microaggressions and macroaggressions. It's made everyone take a step back and think about our attitudes and why we need to shake things up. According to K. Shanmugam, a lawmaker and a Minister of Law and Home Affairs in 2021, Certain groups have even been playing on Singaporeans' job-related anxieties to stoke the fires of xenophobia and racism. Despite being a highly developed country, Singapore grapples with high stress levels and a challenging work-life balance. Recent studies have painted a concerning picture, depicting Singaporean workers as overworked, fatigued, and stressed out. In 2021, a study conducted by Employment Hero, a human resource software developer, ranked Singaporeans as the most unhappy workers globally. It's not surprising, though. There's this intense pressure to succeed, and the whole kiasu culture just cracks up the stress dial even more. Interestingly, the 2023 World Happiness Report contradicts these findings, placing Singapore at the 25th spot among the happiest countries globally. However, many Singaporeans view these results skeptically, considering them nothing short of a joke. The prevalent complaint culture and a sense of entitlement among Singaporeans may contribute to this skepticism. Singapore takes pride in its identity as a garden city, but recent insights from authorities indicate that the littering issue hasn't just lingered. It's actually gotten more pronounced over the past year. The National Environment Agency, or NEA, shared that it handed out over 6,000 additional fines for littering offenses compared to the previous year. The number of fines for littering surged from around 14,000 in 2021 to 20,100 in the past year, showing a significant increase of over 43.5%. This noticeable uptick in littering incidents is causing concern among Singaporeans, prompting speculation about what might be at the root of the issue. Despite Singapore's tag as a clean city, it seems it's still on the journey to becoming a truly clean one. With one of the highest life expectancies and lowest fertility rates globally, Singapore stands on the brink of an impending demographic transformation. Among the ASEAN member states, the Republic already holds the title of the oldest society. Interestingly, many Singaporean seniors opt to continue working well into their 80s and 90s, aiming to stay mentally and physically active. While this may seem normal, there's an underlying concern that warrants attention, especially in a country as developed as Singapore. It's crucial to recognize that these observations may not apply to every single Singaporean out there, but there's a noticeable thread of certain rude behaviors and attitudes that have sparked conversation even among foreigners. It nudges us to think about and implement solutions, creating a path toward a more balanced and inclusive Singapore. Finding these solutions is a shared effort. Whether it's fostering empathy, promoting education, or just having open conversations, every bit counts. Engaging with our communities and seeking understanding can contribute to a more cohesive society. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.